Get down. Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm not gonna get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informant, that information for me. Important, you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focused on scoring. Got your underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. Cut that game plan. Show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the quick rock, skipping the course, squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots. Ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me evil Knievel. You leading on the wrong side, living with peasant needles. So lethal, made Shane Black wanna write a sequel. Cause I snuggle my dreams till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Anything we make up or just break up, and the snake hits get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up if I don't shake me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle and lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got a question, keep pushing me to progression like I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of a validation. Yeah. Get down. Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm not gonna get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informant, that information for me. Important, you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focused.
Hi, Mama Rosa. Can she hear me?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing?
Good evening.
Mommy, you have to mute your mic.
It is.
No, you.
All right. Thank you. A little technical difficulty. But we're going to get it together. Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday. We're going to make the rest of our life the best of our life. Who's down for that?
Yes.
All our good days are forward, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's go. Let's get it and let's make it happen. Welcome to Bravo with Sheila. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I am your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B, and I am glad to be back with another amazing conversation and dialogue. This is Thursday night, Lady Dawn B and friends, and tonight I don't have my usual Bravo squad with me. I brought in some of my other sisters, my fellow writers, some ladies I've learned to love, admire, and respect out here in this game. And on tonight, I want to introduce you to them. They are accomplished authors. All right. I'm gonna try not to say amen, but y'all know I'm a church girl, so this is what I do.
Let it happen.
Okay.
Let it happen.
But we're
Come
gonna let
on.
it happen. Let
Let
it
it
be what
happen.
it be. We're just gonna let it be. But on tonight, I'm very excited and I am very, very much looking forward to this conversation with these ladies. They are creatives, they are business women, they are full of life, they have life experience, and tonight they're going to pour from their wells. So, again, welcome to Bravo with Sheila. Salute if you wouldn't mind joining me to give a big bravo to the Queen. Bravo herself,
Give
Pastor
yourself a
Sheila Ingram.
bravo.
We always give honor to her. All right. Thank you, Auntie Bravo, for yielding me the captain's chair for a little bit on tonight. It's the honor. Those are big shoes to fill, y'all. But I'm
Right.
trying to hold it down, trying to hold it down the best I can. So as she says on the Bravo with Sheila channel, we focus on going from pain to power and from power to victory. And I believe on tonight, what these women are going to share is going to help you do just that. It's going to help all of us do just that. So tonight we're going to meet three amazing female authors again who are going to share with us from their work. So do me a favor, here in these Bravo streets, here in these YouTube streets, this podcast nation, if you could just hit that like button, please subscribe and share. Let's do it early so that you don't miss any part of any great conversation as we do our weekly check-in. So I'm gonna give you a minute to grab your good snack and let's chat and hit that like button for me if you don't mind. Weekly check-in. So I'm gonna give you a minute. All right. Want to get somebody else in here. So on tonight, I want to introduce to you our three wonderful authors. The first is going to be I call her my partner. I met her I want to say a long time ago. She is my poetic counterpart. Um, we did not meet in these
Poetic street.
author streets.
Right. You need the poetic street partner.
Right. It's not where we met. She
No.
actually was one of my son's teachers in middle school. And
Mm-hmm.
that was where we first connected and about yeah.
From day one.
Yes, she shared the burden of being a part of his village. And yes, from day one I had to come up to the school to regulate. You know how we do. I had to come up to regulate because my son was, a little left. And yeah, we met in the hallway and
Sure
straight up, I
did.
was like, listen, if
Straight
I need to sign
forward.
a waiver for you
Sure
to lay them
did.
hands, I will do that. You
That's
you have
exactly
my
what
full
you
permission.
said. That's
Now I can
exactly
clean
what
out.
you said. That's exactly what you said. And I was like, oh, she's a keeper. We here,
Yes.
boy. We here.
We play no games. I'm on the teacher side. So a few years later, we were connected through a writing project, and I did not realize it at the time. But when I heard her voice, I was like, "Wait a minute! I know that voice. I know that." I was
Yes.
like, "No, that's my girl." And
Mm-hmm.
as it turned out later on, I had to text her and be like, "Wait a minute!" I
That's
said, "You teach at One World?" You
right. Uh-huh.
and that's how we reconnected. And I was like, oh, so and it was love from day one, and it's love now. So I appreciate her. We were the two poets in the book Stepping into My Purpose. We are fellow authors under the Harlem Girls umbrella. And so I want to introduce y'all to my other part, my partner in the person of Antoinette Saunders. So let's give some
Yay.
claps and love
Yay.
for her.
Yes. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited for this evening. I didn't want to do it at first, and she was like, yeah, no, you don't really have an option. No, ma'am. 7 o'clock. We'll see you there. And I was like, well, okay. Conversation over. I guess I'm there.
Yeah, and look at you, and here you are.
And here I am.
And I so love you and appreciate
And
you.
I love you too.
And next up, I want to introduce, and they're going to come in their own way as we get into this conversation, but I want to give them their just due and their proper respect. Next up is my North Carolina sister. That's what I'm gonna call her. My NC sister. uh, she has blessed my life. We are connected through All Nations Radio under Bishop Dr. Samuel McGill. It has been an amazing, I want to say, believe it or not, almost a year. I think, yeah, I think next month will make a year. June makes a year since she and I connected. And she, from day one, is just a warm, welcoming spirit, has a big heart, just full of love, full of God's grace, just a joy and a pleasure. She has her own room on Clubhouse on Wednesday nights. She hosts, and she, kind of bullied me into. Being her counterpart, her assistant. I didn't have no choice, so I just showed up. I did what I was still. Don't be like that, partner. Right, I did to. She did to me what I did to Anthony, so it
Okay.
comes back. It came back.
I see.
But she, as I kind of find out, is an amazing poet and author. She has a life full of experience and a well of just knowledge and joy. And she is in the person of Michelle Roach. Give it up for Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm so glad she said yes. Not that she had a choice either, but
What you gonna do, Michelle? What you gonna do?
I'm sorry. It was 7 o'clock, and don't be late. Okay, 6:45. Don't be late.
That's it.
Okay, so y'all got to come into the room on Wednesday nights to fully understand. But you're right. And last but not least, she is the one who I've known the longest. I know the best. We are 54 years in, one of the most stable relationships I've ever had in my whole entire life. This is where love covers and keeps you. It is. It's one of the most solid relationships I've ever had.
Amen.
Not only does she cover me, but she is a mother to me, not just in how some people have a surrogate parent. She is literally my mother, the woman who birthed me into the world. I am four of her four. I am number four of her four. And we have paralleled our journeys, and I thank God for her. She went into ministry. I also followed suit into ministry. She writes, I write, and I'm glad to say that she's not only my sister in Christ, not just my mother by birth, not just my sister in Christ, but she is now also a fellow sister author under the Harlem Girls umbrella in the person of my mom, Pastor Rosa. She's no stranger here, so y'all give it up for my mom. Yay! Now, my mom and I have some challenges sometimes because we're in the same house. So we got a whole system work. So I'm just letting y'all know ahead of time. We keep it real here, okay? We keep it real. All right. And I just want to acknowledge some people in the comments. Tanya Williams, Tidbits, T Blessed is my girl. She's saying good evening, ladies. She is a part of the Bravo squad. She's been on with us the past 3 weeks. So we see you, Tanya. Hello and good evening. Three Kings says congratulations to all. Yes, it is a big deal to have a book published in these streets, especially today. And then we have my brother Donald Brathwaite chiming in, coming on and supporting. He says, yay. We have You Can Make It TV. This says greetings from ATL. And Three Kings Production says it takes a village. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So we're not going to delay any further. We're going to get into these good books these ladies have written, and we're going to ask them tonight to share a piece from their writings. All right. And again, please do me a favor, do me a solid, hook a sister up.
Oh no.
Hit that like button. And please subscribe and share so you don't miss any conversation that we host here. I promise you're going to want to tap into everything that goes on at Bravo with Sheila. So please hit your like button and help us grow in these YouTube streets. So, first person I'm going to call on tonight is my partner. And I want her to come and share.
Lord.
Tell us the name of your book. Tell us about your book. How did your book come about? Tell us a little bit about your book.
Well,
and
which one are we talking about, partner? The most recent? Are we talking about our endeavor?
Let's do the most recent. This is fresh off the press. Literally.
So,
or whatever you have. Whatever you have. You share as you like.
I didn't realize I needed to share a piece from one of the books. So one of the books I don't have anymore. They're all gone. That's stepping into my purpose. But I did find there is a piece that I have in another book that I pulled from for the one that you and I created together, the Soul Poetry, Matters of the Heart. And that came about, that was all Dawn's baby. It fell from the sky in her spirit. The Lord laid it on her heart. And she called me and said, listen, the Lord has laid it on me. We need to do this soul poetry. We need to do a piece together. We need to work together. And what fell in my spirit was soul poetry, matters of the heart, personal experiences. So she starts sharing this idea. And as she's sharing the idea, now all of a sudden my wheels start to turn. And they started turning and they haven't stopped turning since. And you and I had talked about doing this a while back when we did Stepping Into My Purpose. We talked about it jokingly and then just kind of left it at that. But on that particular day, you brought it to life when you picked up the phone and said, listen, it's about that time. And Matters of the Heart is personal for, I think, both she and I, because it's just us two. And it really allows us to kind of look back over our lives at things that have happened that have impacted who we are today and how we became the women we are today. And so my area of interest, or area of struggle, I should say, after kind of thinking about my life as a whole, I looked at all the areas in my life and I said, you know, God has blessed me in so many areas where things have just started to flow one right after the other. But there is one particular area in my life where I've struggled from day one. And that's been in the area of relationships with men. And because I have just a very checkered past that has molded me into the creation that is sitting in front of you right now, that is the angle in which I decided to kind of take it from. There is a piece that I wrote. I'm going to save that for Saturday. That would be our opening piece that we worked on. But there is a piece in one of another books that I wrote that I just kind of kept for self. I didn't put it out there, and it's entitled Because I Said So. And I realized that a lot of the things in my life, a lot of the decisions and things that I made early on in life was because someone told me to kind of do it, and it was something that I should have done because it was the right thing to do, not necessarily always what I may have wanted to do, but I knew it was the right thing to do because putting a smile on my mother's face was very important to me. And so that kind of led me into the relationship with my father and how that initial relationship with a father, between a father and a daughter, if that is lacking and not present, how that can kind of mold the steps that follow, and not having a point of reference also played a part in some of the horrible decisions that I made. But I did write a piece and it's called Because I Said So. So that I will share with you.
All right. Well, let's go. Let's give it up for Antoinette Saunders and Because I Said So.
Or Because I Said So.
Because I said so. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Because I Said So. So how many of us remember when you were told to say your prayers, wash your hands, do your homework, and when you asked why, you were told, because I said so? Well, what about brush your teeth and watch your mouth and say, excuse me, thank you, and please? And when you were asked why, your mother would say, because I said so. Or here's a good one. Don't do as I do, do as I say do. Why? Because I said so. Well, because I said so doesn't work for me anymore, because I've learned life's lessons that have left me bruised and sore. Envious and jealous friends who lied and said they'd be there to the end turned their backs and in a moment of despair talked about me because I was light-skinned with long hair. Family members whose words left deep, dark, unhealable scars tore down my hopes and dreams of reaching for the stars. A father who never really knew me brags and beats his chest with pride because of the woman that I've come to be, knowing he never really played an active role in my life as new chapters began to unfold, experiencing heartache after heartache, pain after pain, lie after lie. It's all one and the same. My choices in men have been extremely poor because at the end of each relationship, it just left me wanting more and more. And since I had no real point of reference and nothing or no one to refer to, I began a cyclical state of affairs when I didn't know what else to do. Then 4 famous words spoken by my mommy began to resonate in my head. You're a diamond in the rough who's got a mind of her own and a skin made so tough because I said so. You are a beautiful eagle with a wingspan so wide, it covers all your perfections you carefully try to hide because I said so. So until that time comes and everything your heart desires falls into place, you walk this earth with your head held high, a song in your heart and a smile on your face, knowing that all things happen in due season and everything happens for a reason. Let's not get caught up in everyday life full of destruction, sadness, confusion, and strife. We have to find time to give honor and praise to whom all blessings flow, and not because you want to, but because I said so.
All right, let's give it up. Let's give it up. Let's give it up. That's some good stuff right there and right there. We're gonna have to put that in the gold frame. Right, in a gold frame. You know, you said some very key and important points as you were reading the poetry, and reading, and it's your life experience.
Yeah.
You know, what people don't realize in writing that sometimes it's very hard to express your thoughts. You know, in writing, it frees the author, it frees the writer. You don't have to carry that weight of your thoughts with you anymore. Writing is a safe place. But I know for me, and I'm sure you can all, you know, relate on some level. But writing is that safe space for me to put out exactly what I'm feeling without fear of judgment or having to curb my tongue. But do you ever feel that, do you believe that there's a timing that comes with you releasing your story? You know, you go through so many different experiences that all lead into these pieces like this. But when you wrote it, did you really expect, or did you think there would come a time that you would really release it? Because, you know, sometimes we write stuff and it's just for us, and you're like, I'm gonna write it to get it out, you know, but would I share it with the world? So the fact that you're sharing it tonight, like, that speaks to a whole space that you're in. So tell us about that.
It definitely did. In the beginning, when I started putting these little pieces on paper, I'm sure everybody's familiar with Sylvia's Also, not just Sylvia, but Sylvia's Also, which was located right next door. They used to have an open mic night on Wednesdays, and I went one time, and I noticed, you know, that people would kind of get up, and I was like, I could write poetry. Like, I know I could put pen to paper, go home and see what I can do. And so I just kind of came home and started playing with it. Granted, I was teaching spoken word in school, but never looked at it from an aspect of me actually performing it or sharing any of my pieces. So I began to just kind of sit down and think about certain times in my life when I was frustrated or angry, and kind of replayed scenarios in my head. And because I said so came to mind immediately, because I thought of my mother. My mother used to tell me that all the time. Like, you do what I say do, you don't do what I do. Well, why? Because I said so. Don't ask me no questions. You say when you say good night, and you say excuse me, and you say please. Don't ask me why. It's because I said so. So when mommy flashed in front of me, all of those things that laid the foundation for being a respectable young woman, it all kind of came to fruition. And I just sat down and started jotting it down. And that was the first time I read that piece. I actually wrote it the night I performed it at Sylvia's. So I went and I did my little thing, and the reaction from the crowd, I was like, hey, you might be pretty good. Wait a minute. You know? And then every time something would hit me, I would just come home and put it on paper. Never in a million years thinking that I would put all of this together and compile it into a book, or I would be sharing it with the world. Never did I think about it like that. It never went any further than Sylvia's.
Wow.
You said everything kind of falls into place. And at this stage of my life right now, where I'm at, it's okay to say what's on my heart, and I'm going to say it. I've held a lot for so long and wouldn't verbalize it this way, but it was ease to put it on paper. And that's what I try to teach my kids in school. Let your words dance on the page. Let your words tell a story. because it's your story.
Right.
And because it's your story, we want to hear it. And it's become a safe space. So I relate with you 1,000% on that. It's become a safe space. When I sit down and get to writing, this just never turns off. It just keeps going and going and going. But I'm glad that everything happens in due season, because at that time I wouldn't have been ready to put any of this out. But now at this particular point in my life, God is saying, the door is open, young lady. You better go ahead and step in, because you have a lot to say. And I hope that it can help somebody at some point along the way.
No, thank you. That is amazing. Again, we're gonna do gold snaps for you. I'm just saying we're gonna put it in a gold frame or something, it is really amazing. I love in this piece how you turned the meaning of those words around. Initially it was because I said so, but coming from an echoing place.
Yes.
From what your mother told you, without explanation, without definition, it was just what you were going to do because you were told to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you came to a place and a point where you now became that empowering voice in your life. You had she set that foundation for you, but now you're the empowering voice and you're saying, I'm going to do these things because I said so, not looking for validation, not looking for acceptance, not looking for guidance from anyone. And that's an amazing lesson that we all have to learn. It speaks to our journey of maturing and growth and us coming out of our places of looking for other people, I guess, the expectation of other people keeping us in a box.
Right.
Because even with it, and because my mother, she's not here today. Pastor Rose is here, so it's different. But my mom, my parents are big on that. The time we grew up in was because I said so. We didn't question, you didn't ask, you didn't, don't dare try to understand the reasoning behind. So, we just went along with. And I think that even in that, they meant us well, but we missed a lot of the understanding behind what we were doing, and You Can Make It TV says that's universal. That's the universal mom line, because I said so.
I said so. That's right. That's right. Everybody's mother has said it. Absolutely.
As a mom, I know I've said it. My son, I've said it a bajillion times. So many times my throat hurts. This shit hurts. But it is an amazing piece, and I'm glad that you were able to share it now. What I find through writing is that our experience today is not always meant to be released today, because even when we get it out, there's still a healing that has to go on between the time we write and the time that we release. And I think people think sometimes that, books are just written overnight, and sometimes people don't understand that it could take years, because you are putting your heart, your vulnerable, raw soul out for the world, to see, in hopes that someone would latch on in a positive way and grow from it. But oftentimes it also comes with the negative, the criticisms, and so we have to prepare ourselves for both. That piece is something that is definitely going to bless so many people. And I hope that you publish that soon. Are we publishing that soon?
I don't know.
Okay.
We're thinking about it. We're thinking.
We're gonna say maybe in soul poetry too, once we get past one. I'm just saying. We'll move on. I digress. I don't want to stress you out.
I'm sweating.
She's my writing partner, y'all. This is what we do. But another key point that you made in your poetry, you referred to the absence of I think it was the absence of your dad, and it just made me think of how the absence of key people in our lives. We've all had someone key. Even sometimes we've grown up with both of our parents in the home, but even with that, pieces of them are absent from us.
Right.
Not just in the physical, which I know that is a difficult thing. My father was in the home for a period of time in my life, but once I turned 16, like, he was no longer in the home. That whole transition was crazy, because, I'm at that age where a young girl needs her father, because, like you said, when you don't have that one-on-one, right, that point of reference. And I mean, I love my dad. the point of reference that I had was a little sketchy sometimes. My
Mhm.
experience was a little different, and I always honored and respected him, but it did leave such a mark on us, as myself, as well as you, that like you said, it led to, as you put it, the checkered past and the decisions that you made, you know, um, and it's really important that we look at the piece that you wrote, like we really have to pull those important spots out, and
Mhm.
hopefully someone will not just hear your story but see themselves in it
Correct.
and
And
say, am I that missing parent, am I that missing person, am I that missing piece,
and it
you
affects,
know
it affects you as an adult. Whatever we go through as children, it affects us in the process of becoming an adult, because I am
hmm
52 years old and I still carry things that happened to me when I was 16 or 17 years old. These things help design and pave the way
right.
for your present and for your future. And something as simple as, I'm not going to say something as simple as, but the idea of a father being around but not being there, because that's a possibility too. You can be around and not
hmm
be there. And I didn't mean not having that sense of safety and knowing that
right.
my father would help guide my footsteps and say, this is what you're supposed to be treated like. Don't accept this. If they do this, this is what that means. If they say this is
hmm
what. Not having that experience became my teacher,
mm.
as opposed to my father being my.
Yeah.
So I had nothing to go on but my experiences. And when you don't know right from wrong, if you're doing wrong, you think it's right. So you keep going. And that's
Right.
what I did. I thought my wrong was right. So I just kept on going. Well, this one ain't work. Maybe that one will work. I'm going to do the same thing. No, this one ain't work. Maybe that one will work. I'm still doing the same thing. So when you keep doing the same thing and expect a different outcome, that's insanity, right?
Right.
And I was a little
Right.
crazy. I'll be the first to admit it. She was a little crazy, a little slow.
She
But
was.
you know what I realized? I'm gonna sum it up and then I'm gonna be quiet. The setback was the setup for the comeback. I'm gonna say that again.
hmm
My setback was the setup for my comeback, and my comeback is now.
Amen.
Comeback is now. So
You hitting the gold tonight, partner.
I'm gonna
Yes.
now.
No, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. Come on, y'all. Give some bravo love to my partner Tony. She's speaking, this is real life. Those places that we that avoid, we look to fill those gaps instead of sometimes just being patient. It may not be time to fill those gaps. And like you were saying, you let experience be your teacher and your guide. And like I said, for me, my dad was in halfway, out halfway, at a certain point, and he taught me stuff. Like, we used to go on father-daughter dates, and we did it even as I got older, up until, before he, passed. We would still do it when he would come to New York. And I will say this, that even knowing that sometimes even having that presence, and even knowing that, I still chose wrong,
Uh-huh.
because I found myself starting to choose men that were doing the things that my dad did that I did not like,
Mm-hmm.
or I didn't, because I was already kind of numb to it, you know, or I felt like, yeah. And it took me to be my adulthood to really understand that, so your poem is so strong and so full of good nuggets that are going to really bless, again, not just the reader, because they're relating to it in the sense of your experience, but there's so much in there for us to really look at from the opposite end too, as a parent saying, because I said so, we got to think about what we're doing, and that, are we setting our kids up to just go along with the next person that's going to dictate to them, you know and it's okay to say, because I said so, but we also have to go back and teach them why we said so,
Correct.
and not just let it be that. So thank you so much, partner, for sharing. So tell me, what are you working on now? Are you working on something now? Do you have a project um, at the current
We
time?
have a project. We have a project that's about to explode on Saturday. Our soul poetry, Matters of the Heart, and I'm
Do
excited.
tell. Do tell.
You do.
I'm in the host seat tonight. I'm in the host seat tonight.
Come on, man.
So how can they get a hold of you and reach out if they want to purchase your book or just connect with you? How do they do that?
Well, if you would like to purchase a book, first of all, Saturday is our book launch. We're having it at Confetti, located in the Bronx at 3190 Westchester Avenue. And our event is from 4:30 to 8:30, where we will introduce this wonderful project that we are working on and have a Q&A session for you and the signing of the actual book along with dinner. And you get to shake a tail feather at the end to some good music. And that is, that is our goal, is to allow the listeners to become a part of our journey and kind of follow us through the steps that brought us to where we are today. And this is an awesome project. It's a personal experience, which I think you will all enjoy. And like Dawn said, hopefully it is something that will touch one person's heart and soul, and connect and resonate, and just let them know that if you went through what we went through, your turnout is going to be okay, because we're okay. And it's a part of the journey to go through it. If you're interested in a book, you can Cash App me at $AMS132, or you can Zelle me. I don't know if I should put that number out there for everybody, because everybody might want to call it.
Well, you might, but you know what, you could give them your email address if they want to Zelle you. Give them your email address.
My email is harlembaby, one word, 0706 @gmail.com. Again, that's harlembaby, 0706 @gmail.com. If you're interested in purchasing a book.
Awesome. So if you enjoyed her poetry, come on and give it up. If you want to hear more, see more, reach out to her by the means she has expressed. Yes, we have an amazing project that we are releasing in 2 days. 2 days time. Thank you, Jesus. I'm trying not to praise him too hard right now, because we still got a whole show to do. But if you only knew, I was going to start singing Patty. I'm just saying, but thank you so much for sharing not just your poetry, but sharing your heart and your life with us on tonight. And again, we're going to give you another opportunity to reach out to my partner, Antoinette. So we have a comment here from You Can Make It TV that said, that's true for readers as well. You can read a book now and it not resonate, but years later, the words come back to you. And that is absolutely true. It can happen just like that. I know a lot of times when we do that, information, what sticks with you, it may not be for now, but it's important that you, tuck it away. I like to say, tuck it away in your well. Before I preach, God has me in a space where I let people know this word may not be for you today. And it's for somebody in this place, because he wouldn't have gave it to me. But if it's not for you today, put it in your well, so that when the day comes up that you need it, you can reach back down and get it. Right. So, that's how information and books work as well. So thank you for sharing, my poetic counterpart. I'm gonna ask y'all again to like, subscribe, and share. It is an honor to be connected. It really is, and just to be in this creative space with you. So we're gonna move on to our panelist number 2, my North Carolinian sister, who we fight every day. Michelle, you have some background, you have a fan on in the back, if you're able to turn it off maybe, because it's creating some feedback.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. We have a little feedback behind you. Is that a fan or something?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to move forward with it. Okay. It could be, maybe it's a connection. I'm not sure, but you can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right, great. We're going to work through it. So on tonight, our second panelist is Michelle Roach, again, my North Carolina sister. We have a great time on the A&R station every day. I thank God for that partnership and for that connection that brought us together. You never know where your road is going to lead, and you never know who God is going to put in your path. But like I said, from day one, she's just been an amazing sister, so welcoming, so warm. I didn't feel like a stranger at all. A matter of fact, it was just like I was jumped into the whole family. I don't even know how I got there, but I'm here now, and here we are. So, I just love her so much. She's such a sweet person. Um, and she is a poet as well. So I want to give her the opportunity to share. I had a chance to hear a piece of her performance, a piece that she did and performed, and it was so amazing and it touched my heart. So I want to give her space to introduce herself, and I want to give her space to tell us about her book, her poetry, and share a piece. It's on you, Michelle. Welcome to Bravo.
Good evening. Good evening. First and foremost, I want to thank you, Don, for the invite. Although I didn't have, a choice, I was told when and where to
You
be at.
didn't.
But I want to thank you. I get a chance to see Pastor Rosa again, as well as being introduced to Antoinette. But I'm right there with you, Antoinette. Be ready. When Don texts you or call you, just be ready.
You ready? That's how we do.
But I also want to mention that we met on Clubhouse.
Mhm.
We've only seen each other twice, but we connected on Clubhouse. And on Clubhouse, it's just all audio. You're introduced to that person by their voice, by listening to them, connecting with them. So I thank God for that connection. And again, we've
Amen.
only seen each other twice, but the same way with Pastor Rosa, that was our connection on Clubhouse. And they've opened doors to their family as well as, I see my brother Donald is on, and, just with welcome arms. I just want to say thank you again. The title of my book is Simply Love. It's about the moment that you set eyes on that person, fell in love, said I do, and then realize at some point in time that you've got to walk away.
Oh, hold on. We gotta pause because you got a fan up here. You got a fan. Three Kings. Is that Chris?
Yes.
Said that's my mama. Hashtag proud for Michelle Roach. Hashtag let God work. Come on, Commander. Come through. Chris, hold it down. That's right. We had to salute Mama. We had to pause. He's a proud. He said it with his chest. He typed it with his chest. So I had to get it in there. He meant that thing. He said that. Look at it, it's bold. That's my mama. Capital letter. You better be proud. Better be proud. I'm not mad at you. Go ahead, Michelle. I had to give you I didn't want to have no problem. I'm sorry. You said simply love that moment.
It's that moment, that we lock eyes and we says, yeah, that's the one. We step up, we fall in love, and we say I do, and then at some point that I do becomes it's time to let go. And I think we all can relate to that. And it's experiences, I won't the names, have been left out of the book, I'm sure they know who they
Right.
are, if
The
they
names have been changed to protect the innocent. Or the not so innocent. Oh, you have another fan popping on the same bold letters. He's saying it with his chest too. He said, "That's my sister." They claiming you tonight, Michelle. All right, you
I
come
might
on, come through.
I might need security after I share a little piece of this. I'm just hoping that I'm hoping that no one is searching Facebook looking for me based on
I don't know. From the way it sounds, you might have a few takers after this. You might be saying, hey, we could be your bridesmaids. If it works out, simply love. I'm just
but
saying.
still I think we can all relate to that. Sometimes we have to look back, like Antoinette said, sometimes you have to look back and sometimes it's not all good. You have to take responsibility for what part you played in someone's happiness as well as them walking away unhappy.
Hmm.
It's a two-way street. It took two of us to say, hey, I see what you see. I want to connect with you. I want to fall in love with you. I got your back. But you also have to determine there's a time when you've got to let go. But does letting go means that you no longer can be friends with that person. You no longer respect that person. And a lot of times, and I can use myself as an example. When my ex-husband and I decided we was going to get a divorce, we made the decision that it wasn't about us. It was more important that we took care of our kids. I didn't want my daughter saying, "Oh, daddy did this," or my son to say, "Well, mama hurt dad." No, it was our decision to part ways, but we decided that we was going to be there for our children.
Mhm.
I respected him. He respected me to this day. My family is still connected to him, his family. We haven't let go. Sometimes when you walk away, a friend of mine said, "Well, when you walk away, you're not sister-in-law anymore. Why are you still friends?" No, you have to respect where they were in your life. Yes, me and their brother or their cousin, yes, we stepped away, but we still respect the relationship that we had with our families. And so today we're still friends. And I was sometimes a particular gentleman who came in my life and said, "How can you be a friend with your ex?" Hello. That man has respected me as the mother of his kids. I will not disrespect him as being the father of my children. But again, my book is called Simply Love. And I'm going to read an excerpt from my book.
But before you get into the excerpt from your book, I just want to, commend you for sharing this part of your story. Because you could have shared any piece that you wanted to, but I think it's really key what you're talking about. And I'm thinking of the title of your book, Simply Love. Even in the way that you carry yourself, you said through the divorce, that is simply love. It is simply what love does. It is simply what love is. That you have to love someone enough sometimes to let them go. But let them go doesn't always mean leaving their whole life. And I can relate because, me and my ex-husband, my son's father, is the same way. We are one big family, and it's not easy. People think that like it can't be done. It is such, like, what? You're friends and you're this and that. And it's like, yeah, yeah. Just because it doesn't work out on one, love has many levels to it, and I can love you as a person
Yes.
without having to love you as a spouse, or I can just love you as a human being, without having to love you in that intimate man woman relationship. It takes time to peel back those layers and get to a foundation of friendship, but that is simply what love is and what love does. So I want to thank you really for sharing that, because somebody needs to hear that. Divorce is the end of a marriage, but it's not always the end of a relationship. You have to redefine the relationship, especially when there are children involved. And again, my ex-husband and I, we made the same type of deal, same type of conversation, that we was forever gonna be friends. Like, I don't like you like that no more, and you don't like me like that no more. But we got to like each other enough, to remain. And it was more important that we let our child see a healthy relationship, a healthy environment, and really, the different levels of love. So thank you for sharing that again, because it really, that alone, that's a whole nother show topic that we could talk about. Before you read your piece, I want to share, because your fan club is up there. They saluting you on. The proud mama, proud son. He said the reflection is feelings. They played a key role in who you became. They were a part of your life, your journey timeline. And it's so true. We don't always have to dismiss and throw people away just because a portion of a relationship ended. You may not be good for me anymore going forward, but I thank you for the time that you were in my life. Even if it, because even the bad stuff, the Bible says that all things work together. It'll make the good and the bad work out equally just the same. So you have helped so many people, again, in just sharing that piece. And thank you for being transparent. So we're gonna put it back on your hands so that you can go on. Oh, I don't want your brother to be mad, so I'm gonna read his comment too. I don't want no problems with nobody. You got security tonight. He said there's seasons and reasons when people come into your life. Amen. And we have to know which is which. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to hear from Michelle Roach, a piece from Simply Love. It is on you, Michelle.
But before I read this particular poem, I just want to add to what you just said. My ex-husband, his wife, she passed away in 2020. We were best friends.
Mm.
And some women that I discussed that with said, that must be God, because there is no way I could be friends with my ex-husband's wife.
It's
I said,
possible.
yes, it was God, because she had never done anything to me.
Right.
She met him after we had agreed to
Say
be
it again. Say it again.
She met me after. So why do I have an attitude with a woman who's bringing my ex-husband, my friend, happiness? God sent her in his life for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
She came into my children's life, was there for my grandchildren. So why am I going to give her an attitude, cross my eyes when I see her, talk about her behind her back? That's not me.
Right.
And so I never forget, the young lady said, oh, that's God, because there is no way.
That's God, that's Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. It's the whole Trinity. It takes the whole Trinity. We're gonna have church in a minute, don't play. Yes,
And
God.
when we went to a Joyce Myers convention and slept in the same room, trust me, people was like, oh yeah, that was God. You stayed in the same room, you closed your eyes, and she went to sleep. Woke up the next morning and had breakfast. So, yes,
Listen,
I
our
got some
lives.
feedback on that one, though.
Listen, I've been there. I do you one better. I do you one better, and then you got to read your poem. But for real, we are twins because my ex-husband's current girlfriend, they've been together for a good while. She and I know each other. We met in high school. Like, I know her from high school. And not only that, and I'm like, I love her to pieces. I'm like, bruh, she is the best thing for you. I couldn't do it. I tried to just, I tapped out. So I pray for her. I'm like, you got it. That's you. I was out of place. My bad. But she, not only that, we are friends. She is my sister, and it does take God. It really does take God. But she was we were business partners. We've been to Vegas together. We've been to Philly together, just me and her, nobody else, just the two of us. Um, for real, for real. And she rides or dies. She loves Jalen as if he was hers, and I love her son as if he was mine. And I'm like, child, listen, I tell people, it's easy, because when you are over it, you are over it. When you are done, you are done. So listen, those people who are out there, apparently this was meant to be. It said me and Michelle, we twins. Because God only knows. They be like, I don't know how you do that. Y'all did what? I said, yep, we was in Vegas for 7 days together at convention. She was a business partner. She's my friend. They even come up, they spend the weekend, they'll spend the holidays, so I get it. And it takes God, but somebody needed to hear that. We're gonna have a whole nother show about that. We're gonna have a whole nother show. Absolutely a whole nother show. But it's those life experiences that allow us to write. Those are the things that give us the meat, in order to share with somebody else. And believe it or not, these drops in the well tonight, these nuggets, a seed is so small, but look what it produces. So what we're sharing on tonight, somebody somewhere needs to hear. So thank you for opening that up and sharing that. So again, I'm gonna yield to you and go forward with Simply Love. Let us hear it. Let us hear it.
Love is knowing when it isn't love anymore, and loving enough to give what's needed. He held me, but the desire felt lingered with you. His lips spoke of love, yet a lingering memory of your kiss brought you closer. You and I will never be, and yet there is a place for us in the intimacy of my heart. A place of no words but understanding. A place where demands are quenched by satisfaction. Our place. I miss the walks, the silence disturbed only by the caress of your fingertips. I miss the strength and security of your presence, a smile that said it all, yet you belong to her. My place is with him. We spoke of no tomorrows, only lived for today. Love just happened. You gave what you needed, and I love you for who you were. Know happiness and know that our love was just that, ours. Time was good to us. Simply love.
All right, all right. Let's give it up. There's some poetry in the house tonight. Yes, ma'am. I love it. I love it. As you were reading, two things that came to me as you were descriptive in your experience, it talks about the reflection, of the moments that you had, the memories that are real, because sometimes, we can think a thing or we can create a thing in our mind and we remember the thought, but we really don't have the experience of that moment, you know, and the fact that you are sharing, the memory of the experience, that you had, and we can all relate to that. It just takes you back to a place and a time that you just in that moment it's everything that we wanted, and everything that we needed, but who knew, when it would last or when it would end. I love the line you said about being about the strength and the security of your presence.
Yes.
My God, men don't understand. Men lean in and take note. Okay, women, we look for the strength and the security of your presence, not so much your voice all the time, right? But bro, be that brother that walks by listen, walk past the doorway. Okay, just walk past it. All right, let your shadow speak. Right, just let it speak. But those are two very,
If
those
I
are two
may,
very, um,
if I may add to that,
yeah,
sometimes, like you said, it's a two-way street. We need to be on that two-way street. We need to be what that person needs in that particular moment.
mm-hmm,
My grandmother will always say, "Hey, let someone have their space, and you own the opportunity to have your space." Because sometimes we just have to step back and think about where we are. Because I think we can all agree that, and I'm guilty. I look across the room. Out with the girls, look across the room and say, "Oh yeah, that's the one." And sometimes that looking across the room and that locking the eyes, yeah, will lead you to the altar, and you all are looking what 10 or 13 years later and say, "Really, really?"
listen,
Because yeah, because in the midst of it all, you're learning about each other, but also sometimes you have to say, "Okay, we've had our season, and I
right,
respect you, and you respect me enough to say, hey, here's where we are. Now, where are we going to go?" We can leave being mad with each other. I see you in Walmart, and you want to say, "Oh, I got to duck down out 10 because here she comes." Or we could just, like you said, respect the people in their lives now. And I always wanted to set an example for my children. And my
mm-hmm,
daughter, we had a conversation a few years ago, and she asked me, "Mom, just what did you do? What do you have?" Because me and her father, we're still friends today. We have family reunions, and his family knows I'm going to show up.
mm-hmm,
They're not going to say,
mm-hmm,
"Is Michelle coming?" No, we know she coming. We know she coming, but I still respect the women in his life. I will never disrespect them because they never did anything to me.
right,
Always. And sometimes you have to stop and see, again, respect that woman.
mm-hmm,
I know sometimes we don't want to ask, when you meet them, okay, are you married? Are you a girlfriend? So when you not ask that question maybe 6 months later, no. I'm at a point in my life where I'm asking those questions up front, because if you got a wife in your life, she's in your life for a reason, and I'm going to respect that woman. Same way for a
right,
girlfriend. Okay, and she might be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm sorry, I will not be seeing Thursday. So
right.
I got to
I'm
put
not.
it on the table, and I put it in the hands of God. I only want positivity in my life. I want a strong man, a man that loves God more than he loves me. That's what I want in my life. I don't want
Amen.
anyone else's boyfriend. Now, I'll take your cousin and your brother, but I don't want your boyfriend. I don't want your husband. No. And I'm not trying to wait. Don and Pastor Rosa, no. Let me step back on that. Okay, we'll leave it. We're family.
I love it. I love it. I love it all, and I'm here. I'm here for it all. I'm here for it all. As you see here on Bravo with Sheila, we keep it real. We keep it transparent, and we just let the truth fly and let it lie where it lies. That's what we do. If you are enjoying this conversation, please like, subscribe, and share. We have our number one brother in the house, and they saying hey at Pastor Sheila. She says, hey, don't be sorry I'm late. You on time. You on time, and don't you worry. She says, hey, Michelle Roach. And she says, hey, Antoinette. Listen, Anae is the leader of the Bravette squad, okay? She is the number one, all right? We just so glad that you're here, Anae. We're glad that you popped in. But, Michelle, you said some very good, great nuggets that we need to keep in mind. You were talking about it being a two-way street, that and it definitely is. You're right. We have to be prepared to be what our counterpart needs just as much as we want them to be what we need. It should always love relationship. I don't care what kind of relationship it is, should always be reciprocal. There should be reciprocation. It is not always 50-50. I don't even believe in that. I don't want your 50. I don't even know how to do your math at 50. I need you to come on 100. I'm just saying that's 50 is that new math. I don't know nothing about that. I don't want that because I know when I'm coming 100 and plus some. I'm coming with some extra so that when I fall off, I got some room to still stay. On standard. But it is a two-way street. And then you were talking about respecting, the season and knowing the season. We do have to know. We have to know whether a person is here for life, whether it's a moment, how long that moment is, what is the purpose of that moment.
Dawn, can I just add to that as you were speaking, it came to mind, Michelle. You said some powerful things, and I think that where a lot of women, and I could speak for self, is we make temporary people permanent.
Yes.
And that's where we hit a roadblock. That's where I have hit my roadblock. And because like we've all said, people come into your lives for a reason and a season. And my seasons have been up, but honey, I'm holding on because you're here for the next season too. I know you don't want to be here, but you're gonna be here for the next season and stuff because this season gonna be better than the last one. No, you ain't gonna leave yet. And see, getting to that point, I'm a clown, Michelle, but you will. However, but knowing the difference, like you can't make temporary people permanent fixtures in your life.
And no one is going to say it's not easy.
It's not.
If you think about it, whether you've been with that person 6 months, or 2 years, or 15 years, it's not easy because you built a relationship with that person. But at some point, you've got to, even if you say goodbye, I'm going to be your friend, I'm going to stand by you, it's still going to hurt. The tears are still going to flow. But I told God that, if He move them out the way, I'm not running behind them. Yeah. I'm not going to text them. I'm not going I'm not going to call them. If He moves them, I only want positivity in my life. And I can never forget my grandmother always told me, never tell another woman about your man. She said it's okay to have male friends. Okay, a lot of times we don't want, who's that woman? We can't just be friends. We don't have to, he's not winking and blinking with me. We went to school together, we were friends, but she always told me, never tell another woman about your relationship with that man. How good he is, how good he treats you. He does this, he does that. Even if you're having a disagreement, why go to your girlfriend and say, girl, he didn't do this. So I will never forget. I was with a friend and she was on the phone and every other word for describing her man was the N-word.
Wow.
girl, this and this and that. I said, when she got the phone, I said, whoa, that's your man that you're talking about. That's the one that you have children about, and you're going to be on the phone disrespecting the father of your children to a woman, a single woman who's just taking all this in and is going to go somewhere else and tell somebody else about what you just said about your man, your husband.
Yeah.
And then you wonder how Shirley found out about it.
Right. Now, Shirley want to tell you.
Some things that you
Right.
want to
Shirley wants a piece of the pie because you done talk so much. Shirley wants
Right.
to share.
Yeah, and
But you know, it goes to the experience that we are having, you know, with the people that we're with. You know, and like you said about making temporary people a permanent part of your life, you know, I don't even believe in that no more. Listen, if I acknowledge, if I can identify you as temporary, you don't even get to get in. That's where it really it has to stop before it starts, you know. And then I mean, it makes good for our life lessons,
yes,
but we have to do better about guarding the gate to begin with so that we will have something else to write about besides these experiences and healing from them. You know, like we need to, you know what I mean? Like we got to get to that place, but somebody has to go through it and somebody has to experience it. But we just need to lessen that margin. We need to normalize healthy. We need to normalize that, you know, those kind of things. And I just want to read a couple of comments because we have our amazing brother here, Sir Hale Speaks. We want to salute him on tonight. He's saying, hi, you know, his salutes to Bravo with Sheila. Says, hey, Coach Dawn B. You can make it TV set. Awesome conversation, ladies. Sir Hale says, good to see you at Pastor Rosa and to Anae. And Three Kings, which we know is Michelle's son, says it's also the sharing of knowledge and wisdom passed down to the next generation. All Nations Radio, my bishop, our bishop, Bishop Samuel McGill, holding it down. Thank you for popping on with us tonight, Bishop. Says blessings, sends his love. Um, you know, but we have to again really normalize, you know, healthy relationships again so that we don't keep repeating these things in our writings and in our experiences, because the people are the young people who are coming up behind us, the generations that are coming up behind us, we don't want them to still be writing about the same things that we're writing about now. You know, we want their story to change. And the power of our words is so important, and it all derives from our experiences and our choices. You know, poetry is a powerful tool. I love spoken word. I love the written word, but I really want our stories to change. You know, at the end of the day, I believe, you know, especially in the poetic form, um, it touches people, it can touch people in such a place, in such a way that we want it to impact them, you know, to begin to break open those seals of the hurt, or break open those seals of the mistrust, or break open those seals to really get people to start thinking and be reflective and saying, hey, this is what I did, this is where I was, but this is also how I came through. I want you to start off at the spot where I left off. I want you to start off on my come through, not at my end, you know, not at the beginning of my experience. I want you to come to start where I ended. And I want you to start off at my healed place, you know? And if we can do that as poets and as spoken word, people who write spoken word, and as authors, you know, I feel like then we are really doing our job. Um, there is a question in the chat that I'm going to answer, that I'm going to ask and answer. But I do also just want to bring up this other point about Michelle's poem. You ended it in saying the end of your poem said, our love, you know, it's our love. It's our love. Um, and we have to be, it made me think about the story you were sharing about your girlfriend and how she referred to the man in her life. You know, we have to be very careful to protect our love, whatever our love is. What I need in a relationship is not going to be the same as what Antoinette needs in a relationship. It's not going to be the same as what Michelle needs and what, Pastor Rosa needs. Whatever that love is and whatever it looks like, for you, you have to protect that and you have to decide that. But the first thing that you have to do is choose wisely, because we misinterpret love to be many things. And like you said earlier, Antoinette, when we don't know, we choose wrong.
Oh yeah.
And this is how people get into sometimes abusive relationships or stay in abusive relationships or disrespectful situations. No, we not disrespecting each other from the gate. I was in a relationship and I was like, listen, you only got one time. You got one time to disrespect me. That's it, because there's certain words and certain things that should not even be in my vernacular or in my jargon, in my verbiage when it pertains to you. There's just certain things. Certain words. I don't care how mad I am. I don't care how frustrated we are. There are just certain things that should not even equate to you. But when they are so easy to come out of our mouths or for us to express ourselves in that way, we have to stop. It's the flag. It's not even a red flag. It's a whole bonfire,
Right.
you know, because you're teaching someone how to love you. You're teaching someone and, how to treat you. You're teaching someone how to disrespect you. And it will lead people to believe and think that you don't know your worth and your value,
Mm-hmm.
Don,
you know?
if I
So,
may, uh,
yes.
I just want to add, the Bible talks about the power of words.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We as authors and poets, we know about the power of words, but if you take a moment and think about it, words are the only thing that once spoken, you can't take back.
Say
Once you
that
put it in
again.
the atmosphere, you can't take back. You say, call me this, and later on when I wake and blink and say, but I love you. No.
Mm-hmm.
Words. Once you put them in the atmosphere, and we wonder why our friends don't pick up the phone when we call them. It's because they're still holding on to something that you said that
Mm-hmm.
disrespected them, be it 2 years ago, and you wonder why they have it's the power of those words. And sometimes we wonder, how could you say that to me when you say that you love me?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we have to think about it. And sometimes we'll use words that should never come back into the across the thresholds of the home, those special little words that begin with B and N, those little special
Mm-hmm.
words. But some words that stand out to me is that's just. And we can take it way back, and I don't remember when I was growing up that I heard that's just or the word stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Nothing
Right.
bothers me the most is when I hear someone say, that's just my baby dad. That's just my
Right.
baby mama. And the
You
question that
minimizing
I
is
have
it's
was,
minimizing and demeaning,
Mm-hmm.
to a person or a thing.
the question that I have was she just your baby mama when you said hello? When you winked and blinked and you stepped across the threshold and said, yes, I'm ready to be a mother. Yes, I'm ready to be a father. But just because you went separate ways, now that's just my baby mama, my baby daddy. Those words just don't sit right with me. Again, it all comes down to respect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Respecting that person that you loved at some point in your life or that you currently love. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I totally agree. And that was good stuff. That was heavy. I say this. I'm a person who I believe in any relationship. Two words I use and I stand by is clarify and define. When you
Mm-hmm.
say you love me, I need you to clarify and define that. When you say you respect me, clarify and define, because your definition of love and my definition of love can be really far apart or they can be jointly put together. I need to understand what you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
that way we don't misunderstand because they could think that they are loving you their way, and that's all that they know.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying, it's so key when ended with our love. We have a comment. It's also the sharing of knowledge and wisdom
Mm-hmm.
passed down to the next generation, and
Yeah.
that is so true. It is so, so true. Again, we are repeating, and that's why I said I don't want the next generation to for their story. I need your story to pick up where mine's left off. Mine's left, and that's why I'm gonna make sure that I leave off my story in a place of healing. Because I need you to start out healed.
The cycle has to stop, right?
Right,
Somebody has to break the cycle. Has to
right.
stop somewhere.
And it's like you said, these words that we speak are so permanent, and this is why I feel like the art of writing in books, in this modern day and technology, it has removed so much, from our generations. Like, to tell my son to read a book, he look at me with three heads, and I couldn't understand why. It's like, go get a book, go to the library. He's like, we don't even do that. I don't even know where that is. I was like, what? But I'm just saying it's real. But the generation that we live in, because they don't know, they came into the world,
Yes.
in this modern day. So for them to open up a book, it's like, you asking them to move a whole building, but we have to bring that back. We have to bring that back because they are missing out so much, information and contact that's essential to their growth and to, what is next for them. Um, we had a question, and if you are enjoying, I hope y'all are enjoying this conversation that we are having tonight. This is amazing. It is our Thursday night on Bravo with Sheila. I'm your host, Lady Dawn B, and I thank everybody for stopping in and stopping by. It's not over yet. We got one more to go, but I want to pause and thank the ladies so far, Antoinette and Michelle, for sharing from their wells, for sharing of their writing, their poetry, sharing from their hearts. And I am prayerful and hopeful that something that has been said thus far on tonight has really touched and impacted you. And I hope you're enjoying the conversation. So hit that like button. If you don't mind, just hit it a couple of times. As my mentor in these YouTube streets, Pastor Sheila says, it's free 99. Go on and hit it, like, subscribe, and share. We have plenty of great conversation that is going to keep going on. Tonight, we are meeting with the authors, these ladies who have taken time to put pen to paper and turn that paper into product so that it can reach other people to help them as they grow along this life's journey. So thank you, Internet, for sharing. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing. There was a question that I do want to ask, and the next we're going to get to, I promise you, I had to kind of I saved her a little bit for last, just a little bit. We're gonna let her just simmer for a minute. You all right, Pastor Rosa? I see you. I see you. Um, the question in the chat is, what poets inspire you? What poets inspire you? So, which one of you ladies want to share what poets inspire you?
I'm gonna say for me, Maya Angelou, because I just found her to be such a powerful speaker. She could recite the alphabet and make you want to go change the world. So it came from the way she presents her pieces, that she tells such powerful stories and stories of truth. And that's part of the foundation as to how I teach spoken word in school, by explaining to the kids that the more transparent and truthful you are in your pieces, the more powerful they can become, the more impact they will have on your audience. And there's not one piece from Maya Angelou that hasn't left an impact on me. So I'm going to have to say Maya for me.
Okay, all right. We got a Maya in the house. How about you, Michelle?
Have to come behind Antoinette. I mean, you talking about power, power. There's not one piece that you read of hers that you you're not going to walk away or you're going to put that book down. I mean, that's power. That's the one word that just steps up to me when you think about her writings. But also, I want to say that other poets, every book that you pick up by a poet, if you stop to think about it, it connects you. It connects with you. There's a certain page in that particular book or a spoken word that's going to connect with you. You can relate to it. You're going to walk away and want to share it with someone else, or you want to, hey, you need to get this book.
Mm-hmm.
But not only her, but other poets that I've met across the throughout the years, or books that I've read or I've heard speak in public places. We can all connect and motivate each other.
I agree. I agree. So we got two Mayas in the house, and I'm gonna have to agree with y'all and get on the Maya bandwagon. Like she's just the most amazing writer in the way she expresses, whether you even as you know in poetry, there's so many ways that you can get your poem to flow. And for her, her voice just oozes off the page. Even if you've never heard her read a piece, the way she writes and her usage of words, it just creates that flow that takes you to a place where you are just in that exact space. She knows how to pull people in to the poem and let you leave with, what she left there. So she's a number one pick for me, and I can never say her name right, so I'm just gonna say it now. It is what it is, but um, forever and a day, I can't say it right, so don't even try to help me. But Intisaki Shenge, she is one of she's one of another, yeah, she's another amazing poet that I found, who her expression, um, her content, her truth, and like she stands on her words. She just creates a space for you to be impacted every time you open up one of her books or you read one of her poem pieces. And naturally, one of my favorite writers, James Baldwin is, one whom I love his writing, period. I just love his writing. Um, when we are putting it down on paper, it is so important that we speak a language that is relative to the generation. Everyone has a voice, and everyone's voice resonates with someone different. And that's the importance. One of the things that I love about poetry is that there is no need for it to be competitive art, or writing as a whole. It does not need to be a competitive art, because your voice is your voice and it is resonating with someone. The way you put your words together, the way you express yours, the picture that you paint, it is going to reach your people. It is going to reach your intended target. And our targets are not the same, but everybody's going to walk out with what they need at the end. And that was one of the things that I truly love. You can make it. TV said yes for colored girls who considered suicide. Yes, 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 absolutely. And Baldwin is one of my faves. Absolutely, we could rock out. You can make it. TV. I'm saying we could spit some poetry. I'm just saying. But I love the truth and the realness, and we have to be so intentional about being authentic in our writing. One of the things that I love about writing is that it gives you that space again, that you can be exactly who you are. It is important that you say exactly what you want to say. You don't have to worry about being politically correct. You don't have to worry about being offensive. One of the things my former pastor taught us is that in Christ, Christ offends to better. He offends us to better. So sometimes being offended is not a bad thing. Sometimes we should be offended because it is causing us it's pushing us towards better, and as writers and as creatives, it's important that we do not cheapen or dampen or water down our words. We have to stay authentic and true to the craft and to the gift that is given to us, because somebody is going to read it, and it's going to make an impact and impression on someone's life. So, keep writing on, ladies, write on and write on. Right on. This is an amazing conversation. I really, really am grateful for you, ladies. And Nay says, great advice, Dawn B. Breathe through your voice. Yes, yes. I've said this. Um, and this is Antoinette and I, like she said earlier, we are releasing our poetry book on Saturday. It's called Soul Poetry Matters of the Heart. And I'm going to share at the end what that's really about. But this is the fourth book that I've written. been a part of. And what I've found throughout this whole journey, and when I'm asked, like, what advice do I give people, and not just in this arena, but even in ministry, in all the things that I do, what I tell people is trust your voice, trust your own voice, own your own voice. Don't let anyone dampen, quiet, silence your voice. You have to embrace your voice. So, yes, you have to take in your own voice and let it be what it is. Let the chips fall where they may lie. Some people might come out wounded or limping. There's also some people that's going to come out on top of the world. They're going to come out empowered and encouraged. And you can't take you can't take the risk of not reaching the people that you need to strengthen and empower, for being worried about those who might be a little wounded by your words. Because again, sometimes we need to be wounded because we get offended to better. So, that's my take. That's my take. That's my words of wisdom on tonight. So thank you, poets. We're gonna move it right along to, she gonna bring it home. She gonna bring it home. She gonna bring it home. She is the reason why I am, not just who I am, but she is the reason, period, that I am that I am in my whole being. Outside of God, she's the vessel that God chose to birth me into the world, to cover and carry and protect me. And she is in the person of Pastor Rosa, lovingly known to many and most. If you meet her, she becomes Mama Rosa to everybody. Although she has birthed four, she has mothered to a nation and to many. And she is an amazing blessing. Honestly, she is the reason why I write. I remember when I was little, she used to take, we used to sit. That's right, Donald. You tell him. Now my brother's on here saying it with his chest. Now I got to, he's saying it with his chest. He's typing with his chest. He said, "That's my mom. You better be listening too." And now he gets, be strong, Donald. Be strong. Be strong for your mama. Um, but yeah, that's right. He's 2 or 4. He's 2 or 4, and I'm 4 or 4. That's how we get down here. He's 2 or 4. I'm 4 or 4. So she's always covered. She's always covered. She got this. But she is such an amazing, and I'm not saying it just because she is my mom, because I keep it real with her. Like, we keep it real with each other. Our relationship is one that we can be completely honest. She's not just my mother, but she is my friend, and I respect her in every area, in every place that she holds. But I remember when I was younger, she would sit me down and cause me to write things properly, make sure my penmanship was right. She would make me practice until I got it right. If I was saying a word, like, she'd bust out the dictionary. And this is why I used to sit in front of this. I'm telling, not that I wasn't telling my age before, but I'm telling on myself. Back on, channel 13, everybody else watching cartoons. I was watching channel 13, getting all the education and, watching Zoom and Electric Company and pronouncing the syllables and all of that. But fun for me and mom was she would bust out the dictionary. And if I was reading, she would make me repeat a word if I did not say it right, if I didn't pronounce it right, if the dialect wasn't correct, if the tone wasn't correct. And she was very meticulous about making sure that I pronounced things properly, that my words were in place, and that I understood everything that I did, that even on paper, the presentation was right. And I appreciate that, because it caused me to be better at who I am, and it causes a streak of excellence. So I give her honor, and I give her her praise. I give her roses while she can smell them, while she is a rose herself. So I want to introduce to you guys my mom and my sister author, Pastor Rosa. Let's give it up for her. Hi, Mom.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you, beautiful?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, she's right. When she would pronounce the word, I would be like, no, that's not the way you pronounce that. It's just, it's one of my pet peeves. English is my very, very best subject, and I wanted her to learn how to speak correctly. So yeah.
So she has released her very first book, her first collaboration under the Harlem Girls umbrella. And I'm going to let her give you the name of her book and introduce it and um, read a piece from it so that we can tap into her world. So take it away, Mom.
Well, the name of the book is Letters to Our Mom, and I am one of 3 authors. And I personally think the book is absolutely magnificent. You know, I have to admit, I haven't read the whole other 2 authors' stories, you know, because I've been reading mine over and over. You know, because it's quite amazing. It's not the first book that I've ever written, but it's the first one that I've published. Um, and the book is about the 3 of us wrote in honor of our mothers who are deceased. And for me, the book was a mixture of just a mixture of emotions, because I had to go back to places that I had closed, and I had to open doors that I didn't want to open. I had to open new doors. I had to discover things about myself, my family, and I'm the youngest of 4, so I didn't, you know, I don't have the recall that my siblings had. So I had to investigate, you know, probe from my oldest sister, because my other 2 siblings are passed on as well. And so I had to glean from my oldest sister and ask questions that were very sensitive. You know, it's like any family, you know, we all have certain issues, things we try to sweep under the rug or whatever. And I had to ask those questions in order to write the book. And in doing that, it helped me to grow in a lot of areas. It helped me to appreciate, honestly, what motherhood is really is. We might think we know what it is, but you know, I think it's only at the end that you realize, you know, I raised 4 kids. I gave birth to 4 kids. I was pregnant 4 times, you know, and it's kind of, you know, when you look back on it, you'd be like, you know, I really did that. You know, my children are really, my oldest son is 60, just made 60, you know, the other day. Was it the 14th? Mother's Day, as a matter of fact. And, you know, he's 60, you know, that's on him. You know, I'm still, you know, I'm discovering me. Okay. He's 60. Okay. So
You said that's not your story?
no, that's not my story. That's not my story. You know, and the thing that he does, he'll be like, oh, Ma, you know, every year he'll say, oh, Ma, how old are you now? You know, and he seems to find that to be, you know, a joke, you know, like his dad, they thought they had jokes, you know. But I said, so this year I said to him, so, you know, he said, so, oh, how old are you? You know, or something to that effect. And I said, yeah, but you're going to be 60, you know, yeah, you're going to be 60, you know, so how about that? You know, you know, and he didn't, you know, he didn't really know how to respond to that. But my book is about motherhood. We reflected on the experiences that we had with our mothers, and to me, it was really a life-changing thing for me, because I had to be very, very transparent with myself. I had to look back at things that I did as a mother in the beginning, looking at areas where I should have been stronger and areas where I should have, well, not to say I should have known better. I didn't know better because I got married when I was 18, and it's a learning process, and I'm still learning really how to be a mother, how to listen, how to, let your children be themselves. And one part of the book is, and I say this because um, my husband or Dawn's dad had asked one time, I think one of the kids was getting on his nerves so bad. And he was like, when is a parent never a parent? And I was like, never, unless, you're not here, but as long as you're here, doesn't really matter how old your children are, you're still a parent. You can't just wish it away, because they're not doing what, you would have them to do at this moment. But that was one of the thoughts that I put in the book. Once a mother, always a mother. Motherhood never stops. It simply adapts to the changes based upon the need of your children as they transition from birth in your womb to the last minute on this earth. Most of all, motherhood is a beautiful, life-changing experience where a woman will surrender her body, giving ownership to her own unborn for 9 months. She regains it again only to surrender it to the next child. And then in that, I was saying for 9 months, my mother allowed me to transition in her womb from a cell to an embryo, and from an embryo to the fetus. And she made herself a safe haven where I could grow and develop in the same place, in a safe place. And the reason why that was so important to me is because today women are fighting for the right to have abortions. They are more concerned with their bodies. They're more concerned with their figures and being able to be free to have, to go and hang out, and just be them. They're more concerned about their figure than they are about the life of the child. And the rights that they're fighting for really is the right to go and have sex with whoever you want to have sex with, and and then you have it unprotected. If you're going to go out and do this, think about protecting yourself, and think about the life of the child. Having an abortion does not erase the fact that that child existed. What it did was it robbed the child from the right to live. So I thank God for my mother. My mother passed when she was 26, and I was a little over a year old. And the conditions around her death had to do with poor conditions living in the South in the time of segregation. And there were only like two Black doctors that was in the South, really. And if you couldn't afford to go to the doctor, which she evidently could not. I mean, a minor accident that she had that injured her right knee. She ended up having to have her right knee amputated, and that led to her death because of poor medical conditions. So in the book, I said to her, I wanted to thank her for the opportunity, for giving me the opportunity to live, living in the cycle of women that don't want to have children, And I want to thank her for not considering herself when she found out that she was having yet a fourth child. And at the time that she became pregnant with me, her marriage was not in a good place. So it would have been a good reason, excuse, not to have another child. But I thank her, as I'm saying, thank you for sheltering me and loving me beyond any risks that you might have had to face to give me life. And had she not given me life, I would not have been able to have be here today and have had the opportunity to become a mother myself. So for that, you know, I thank God for my mother.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know because she's my mom, I know what it took for her to write this. I know that it was very trying, and I had recommended the project to her um, because I felt God leading me to approach her in a gentle way, because there were spaces within her that I know that needed to be healed and fulfilled, you know. And I knew it would be a difficult journey for her, but one that I knew that she could handle at the same time, because God was going to walk her through it. And it was just very necessary, you know, and I don't take any credit for that. I was just glad that I was obedient to it. And I believe that it really blessed her, because her story, you know, sometimes it amazes me when, you know, I remember we were kids and she would say that, you know, she grew up without a mom. And I was like, what does that even mean? Like, you know, because in my mind, I'm like, I do not have a mom. Like, who does it, you know? And I didn't understand it. But again, I was, you know, very young. And before I finish my comment, I do want to read some comments that are in the chat. Three Kings is saying there is no playbook for parenthood. Absolutely not. And Nay says, wow, beautiful, to your story. She said, let me get my tissue real quick. Yes, Nay, listen, I'm sitting here trying not to be choked up, trying to be proper up here. You know, um, Bravo with Sheila says, powerful. Yes, yes. And you can make it says an incredible tribute. Donald 204 says, wonderful, awesome, and good share. And yes, and I love that, you know, she didn't hold anything back. You know, I watched her write, and people think, you know, you become biased. I will again say, me and my mom, we are very unbiased. We support each other, but we keep it 1,000, you know, with each other. And watching her go through this process of writing and writing on this particular subject, it was incredible to watch, um, because I was watching her strength. I was watching her develop strength in the place where she may not have ever had strength before. And hearing the difference in her tone as she's able to tell her story, without her voice shaking, you know, at certain points, and going from that place of pain to that place of power, and sharing um, her story. What amazes me, and this is where I'm kind of have to separate myself from being her daughter, um, when I ask this question, because she's an amazing mother. She's an amazing mother, and I'm not just saying that, but I am the mother that I am because she's the mother that she was. I've seen her give and sacrifice. She made the point of caring beyond risk. You know, it's different now, having my mom with me, watching me raise my son, because she's my protector. She'll still, you know, when me, me and my son go out, she'll be ready to tear him down. Okay. Because she's like, you know, I'm her baby. And she's not looking at me as his mother, you know. When she's ready to take a brother out, she's like, you know, just use my line, like, you know, I don't know you that well. I only know you 21 years, you know, so you new here. You know, but she cares beyond all the risk that it takes. I watch her when I'm not well, um, and when I'm suffering and going through, you know, she has this strength. She does more for me in a moment. Like, you know, when I should be doing for her, she still will carry me, even when she's hurting. When her body is hurting and she knows mine is hurting, she will still make sure that she does more to lessen, she does more on her that lessens the load on me. So that whole point of caring beyond all risk, you know, to yourself as a parent, we really don't think of um what it is costing us. You know, there's a comment said, come on now, Dawn B. Let me just go get the whole box. You know, go get the whole box in there. Matter of fact, we gonna mail you a box of tissue in there. A matter of fact, when mom's book, okay, with her book, with the book comes a free box of tissue. We're gonna make sure there's one with every single order. So y'all order it so you can get your free box of tissue. But I've watched her, you know, I've learned the life lessons as a parent from my mom, you know, and being able to stand and cover your children, is an amazing gift. It is a blessing. You don't know your strength until, oh God, you really don't know your strength until you have children. You find strength in places that you do not know you have. Just like my son caused me to find nerves in places I didn't know that I had. There's balance, people. It's balance. We keeping it real. They also help you to find the strength in the places that you don't act like y'all don't know. See, I just say what y'all y'all thinking it. That's why y'all laughing. Hey, Eric Vaughn. Vaughn, Eric, welcome, welcome, welcome. If y'all enjoying this conversation, come on, hit that like button, like, subscribe, and share. We keep it real and transparent here on Bravo with Sheila. Listen, anybody who knows me know this is me all day, every day, in any atmosphere I am in. One thing with me is I'm going to be consistent. You're going to get what you get. I am who I am, and I can't be anything less. So I thank y'all for loving me anyway. But Mom, I want to say you made the point in the book. You were talking about how it was you were thanking your mom, for being selfless and carrying you. My question to you, you can make it that I wish I could double like. Listen, share 9,000 times if you can. Mommy, I would say to you, growing up without a mother, what was the biggest challenge? One of the biggest challenges that you had growing up without a mom, not having that example, because you can have surrogate parents, you can have step parents, you can have mother figures, but there's something about that parent, that mother, that father, period, in your life that that connects. So what was one challenge that was that stands out to you the most about growing up without a mom and now being a mom?
Wow. It's not really one.
I mean, I'm sure there were many, but if you could think of one.
My day, in all honesty, was filled with silence, just silence, because there was no one there to respond. If I said mom, there was no one there. There was nothing. It was the silence, and this was something that I don't think anyone in my family even realized. I remember one day my dad said to me, what I used to do is I used to go to my friend's house, but I used to hang around with their mother. I would, I didn't, I'd go over there but I stayed behind and helped wash the dishes and, that type of thing, so, because I needed to know what a whole family looked like. I needed to know how a mother interacts, how does a room look with a mother in it? What does it look like for a mother to be in the kitchen making dinner and preparing for? Now I had a stepmother, but before I knew cognitively that she wasn't my mom, it was something within me. I knew she wasn't. There was no connection there, so for me, it was, I think I took it harder than my other siblings did. It was just pure emptiness for me. That was my challenge every day, getting through the day of her not being there to say good night or good morning, because those things were important to me. Family was of the essence to me. I used to, when we used to go to church, I used to sit and look at the family on the fan, and I used to cry because this is how I wanted my, the family was just, a mother is everything. I mean, she really, really is. My dad was there almost every day, but he wasn't my mother. He wasn't my mother, That was the most important need that I had in my life was my mom. And so, and I used to ask God, why? You know, why? Nobody else on the block, everybody else on the street had a mother. Why we don't have a mother? you know, you know. But I found out later, you know, and Dawn, as you very well know, I've just conquered this. Everybody calling me Mama Rosa, Mama Rosa, Mama Rosa. They listen here, you know, even in church, you know, they forget that I'm a minister, you know, now I'm pastor, Mama Rosa. People my age, listen, hold up. You just as old as I am. You calling me Mama Rosa or whatever. But it took I'm not the mother of church. Don't do, you know, please, you know, okay. You know, and I'll be like, listen, if you could see in here, you could see, you would know that I'm not I'm not the church mother. I promise you, I'm not. I promise you. Okay. But what happened was God took my pain and turned it into ministry. I had to go through the hell, and it really was hell that I went through for the most part of my life. But it was ministry. Now the ministry that I have a woman's ministry, which is, you know, the name that I have under my name. And that ministry was birthed through my own personal pain, you know. So now we went to a women's conference about 2 months ago. I went with one daughter, I came back with 8. You know, so I was like, Dawn, I think I finally understood, you know, what God was saying to me, because I know how it is not to have a mother, you know. And it's really sad in a way that you have to go through that in order to really understand, you know. But they said Jesus was touched by our infirmities, you know. So he understood our pain. And so you have to be relevant, you know, to whatever your ministry is, you know. So I'm okay with it now, you know. So I understand. I understand the mother thing, you know. It's not that you're old. It's what's in you. It's what's in you. You know? So I hope that answered your question.
It did. It did. And that was exactly, you know, that was really good. And thank you for sharing. And thank you for accepting, you know, and not being offended anymore. Again, it's that offended to better. You know, she has become offended in that title. And now, you know, she is better about it. And we thank God for the journey that she's taken, because had she not, she would not be in the position to help so many other people. We literally did. I went to minister. She came with me, and she came back. I came back with 8 siblings. I had people coming up to me and saying, "I'm your sister." And okay, all right. I'm your okay. You know, and I said, "All right, well, listen." I said, "You know, I hope you don't mind. I'm your sister." I said, "Look, I'm the last of the 4 that she pushed out. There was people already here when I got here, so I had no choice, you know, but to share, you know." But it's amazing how, as she said, God would take the pain, you know, what we go through in pain, and turn it into ministry and purpose, you know. And thank you, Mom, for the reminder that parenting never stops. I've been trying to find the off button for parenting. My son just turned 21, and I was doing a 2-step in the street, counting down to his day. And then they was like, just let her dance, because she just let her have her moment. It was 60 seconds I lived in here. 60 seconds, you know, because I'm thinking I'm free. But parenting never stops. It never stops. It is an ongoing journey. And we thank God for that. It is a blessing to be a parent, to be that caretaker, you know, and to be trusted with a life, you know, that God has allowed us to have, you know. And thank you for sharing that, Mom. It's really a blessing and an encouragement to somebody, because you're living proof that you can make it beyond your pain. You can make it beyond the absence or the loss of the parent. That gap doesn't necessarily have to be filled with someone else, but God will give you what you need to sustain you through it. There is life after that, and there's good life after that, and there's good life through that. So it is an amazing blessing and story and testimony. And really appreciate you sharing from your well on tonight. I want to thank, come on, let's give it up and a big bravo to every one of our authors on tonight. We have a comment from You Can Make It. You Can Make TVs, that I found as a mother that I learned from my children. Did you have similar experiences? Um, I can say for her that I know that she has learned from me, because I am challenging at times, probably. So in a good way. I'm gonna give her 30 seconds to answer the question so we can wrap it up, because she wants to. Go ahead, mommy. I'm mute.
Yes.
I didn't want to tell too much. Mute yourself back. Mute yourself. I want people to respect me in the morning. No. I hope y'all have enjoyed this conversation on tonight. I know I have thoroughly. Here at Bravo with Sheila, again, we are about moving you from pain to power and from power to victory, in the words of our queen, Bravo, Pastor Sheila Ingram. That's what this channel is about. So I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight, for hanging out with us, for staying. I want to thank the people in the bleachers, those who, may not have been in the comment section, but you were present on tonight. Thank you for tuning in and watching. And if you don't mind, again, it's free 99. Hit that like button, share, subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss any of these great conversations that go on. We come here to be transparent, to be truthful, to be honest, so that we can build better relationships with ourselves and with one another. You Can Make It says, love it at Pastor Rosa. Thank you and congratulations on your book. So again, we want to thank Antoinette Saunders, the poet and co-author of Soul Poetry, dropping this weekend. You can reach out to her to purchase that book, that amazing piece of work. I want to thank my North Carolina sister, Michelle Roach, for coming and sharing and dropping her nuggets about the love I love, simply love. And you can reach out to her to purchase her book as well. I want to thank my mom, the Pastor Rosa, Mama Rosa. If you know her, she's your mama, for her coming and sharing her book, sharing from her book, Letters to Our Mom. And you can reach out to her as well to purchase. We will make sure that we post their information. Again, I want to thank everybody for allowing me to be your host on tonight. I am your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B. And as always, here on our Bravo platform, we are not here to convict nor to convince, but we are here to engage in healthy, honest dialogue in a safe space that allows us to share and to hear, so we can open up our understanding, to improve and to strengthen relationships of all kinds, but most importantly, the relationship with ourselves. So I want to invite you to join us again next Thursday right here on this channel at 7 p.m. I will be back with another group of my friends. Who knows? We're going to have another Meet the Authors. These ladies have amazing books, amazing content. Please just don't support, be a part of their, help build their projects and their platforms. But we will be back next Thursday night sharing on the topic of self-care, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So we gonna come and talk about the importance of self-care. It is not selfish, it is necessary. It is called self-preservation. So we want you to come in and tap in and join us, grab your snack and let's chat. Again, salute to everyone who joined us on tonight. Thank you for your comments, for your support, for your prayers, for your love. Like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you again. Thank you, Queen B, Pastor Sheila, for yielding the captain's chair on tonight. We wish you love, blessings, and be encouraged. Good night to all. Hang out for a moment, ladies.